one was a bit special and especially different. It's all about the purpose, finding your purpose and finding what's your sparkle. Hi guys, my name is Marta. Welcome to the Open Hearts podcast. Here we go for another episode, and well, today I've kind of had a bit of less good news than expected. So let's just start with a big inhale through the nose and sweet exhale through the mouth. I just want to set the tone for this nice conversation with you guys. I do think it's super important to kind of rewire the way we feel, the way we are. And it's not, I was just like, yeah, I did not had an amazing day because I did not had amazing news. But will I not record my podcast just about that, just because of that? So I just decided to still record it because, hey ho, life is about ups and downs, and I think the magic about it is how you actually go over it. So, funny enough, I wanted to kind of record this podcast because yesterday I actually watched Soul, the new movie from Pixar, and I usually am not a huge fan of kind of Disney movies, and I don't know why. Probably I haven't been used to when I was a child, but this one was a bit special and especially different. It's all about the purpose, finding your purpose and finding what's your sparkle. And it actually really kind of touched me because I've been thinking loads about what's my purpose in the past. I would say probably maybe 5-6 years. And I went through lots of stages. I studied a lot. I watched everything I could, read everything I could, went on a more rational and then a more spiritual path. And I just tried lots of stuff to try to understand exactly how could you find your purpose. Because I was kind of feeling that emptiness or scared of feeling the emptiness. So I've always been really driven in terms of knowing exactly what I wanted and what I wanted to do and what I loved. But then as I changed kind of my hobbies and the things I love changed, which is completely normal. The way as much as you grow, things change and evolve with you. And I mean, it's absolutely normal that you evolve. It got me thinking about, so what is actually your purpose? Why are you on earth? What are you bringing to this planet? And it's exactly about that. I mean, I will not tell exactly what's exactly the movie, but it's about finding your purpose and finding your spark and the big lesson about it. And that really links with something to me which is precious, which is the perception. So at the end, to me, finding my purpose was completely driven and purposefully defined by finding what I really loved and what did I love to do when I was a child. And then I even asked my relatives and friends, and then what do I love to do today? What do I do that I completely lose the sense of time? What could I do without even thinking about money? I was asking myself those questions, if I didn't need any money, any financial backup situation, what would I do without even thinking? So I kind of asked myself lots of questions, and I will add them in the notes of this episode if you want to just give it a try and just see how you feel about it. And I think the big thing is to not get stuck to finding your purpose. So it's to actually deepen your focus on rather quality than quantity. So actually finding those little things, and maybe they are little, maybe they are big, those elements, activities, hobby, people that actually make you feel good, that make you feel that sensation of fulfillment. and focus on them, work on them, and give your energy and time to them. And by the end, you're like, yeah, that completely makes sense. I feel great. And suddenly your purpose will kind of come to the surface. And I think like one of the main key elements in this is an actual knowledge of yourself. It's all those questions, all those little things, all these like personal work you do to find your purpose is deeply entailed with finding and understanding who you are. And the more you ask yourself things, the more I actually need to sit down in front of like my computer or a paper and actually allow myself, like create space for me to write down about what I love, what I like, what do I like to do, which are my favorite colors, whatever. Like just like really as I would be dating myself and understanding and stating and really be like listening to what do I would like to do now, because you know you change. So maybe the things you thought you loved are the ones that you loved 5 years ago or 2 years ago. And then especially because we had such like major events in our lives the past year and everything, I mean, we kind of, our like identity, our personality, this is all about that. It's understanding the shades and shapes about it. And the more you understand, the more you're then ready to have clarity about what's your purpose, what's your dharma, as they say in the yogic world, which I love. And I think to me, like that movie yesterday, it really kind of was completely aligned with that. And personally, that's when, to me, it's about perception. It's about that perception about, you know, what's my purpose, but then as well in not getting trapped in that sense of, oh my God, I don't have a purpose. I have no idea why, like no clue about why I'm here. And, you know, you completely lose the sense of why are you here? What are you contributing to the world? And are you just like, you know, going to do like a more kind of routine work home, or let's say work gym home for anyone that fitness lovers over there. So the moment you change your perception, the moment you actually believe and you have that self-guidance, that like deep belief, that own faith, that life is more than enough. And then everything kind of fell into place. And you're not guided anymore by being completely, you know, overwhelmed by the fact that you don't have a purpose maybe yet. And that maybe you will find out your purpose when you will be 90 years old. And so what? What's the problem? There is no problem. The only problem is if you've been completely like sleeping through the journey and not actually aware of what's going on, of your feelings, of life around you, and actually enjoying that journey. And I think to me, that's one of the most important things. And even, you know, even this morning when I had like ups and downs and like news were not exactly great, I was like, it's okay, because maybe, you know, 4 months ago, there were other things that went wrong. And it was the fact that you picked on the perception that things will get better and that you have that self kind of belief and deep, deep trust that things will get sorted because you're actually acting from the heart, that things worked out well after. So I think that's, yeah, for anyone out there who doesn't have yet a purpose or who hasn't figured it out what's their purpose. Purpose, to me, comes into different shapes, forms, thoughts. And there is, to me, nothing more helpful than actually living, experiencing, doing, acting, listening, you know. There is nothing more shapeful in life than doing that. Because that's what will surprise you, because it's the way that you will see your body and your mind reacting to the things you do and the decisions and everything that will surprise you, and how much resilience, how strong you are facing everything else, and how meaningful then you understand what's that little spark, what is that little spark that comes out and And that's very entailed with that spark. They say, purpose is not a spark. So it's that little thing that makes you so special. And maybe it's funny enough, but did you ask your friends, what does make you special? Like, why do they think you're special? Like, what's your little characteristic or your little, I don't know, little kind of element that's make them think that you are special? And those two things, I mean, your purpose and the spark that you have in you, it's actually quite funny because the spark, there is nothing to look for. It's just in you already. And that's why this perception thing I have, it's all about perception, is so helpful. Because then you're like shifting your perception. And in any cases where you feel a bit lost or you're like, things are not going well today, you're just like, okay, well, I'm still the same person than yesterday when things were going well. So what can I do? What can I look for in myself that will change my perception about today? What can I actually do? And that's exactly what I did this morning. And that's why I wanted to share with you, because I think it's quite funny. I had those news this morning and then I watched the movie yesterday and I was like so excited because I was like, this is amazing. So yeah, I kind of challenge you to think about, maybe you have found your purpose already. And you find you find that you feel amazing about it, but maybe you haven't. And if you have not, maybe I challenge yourself to go to the notes of the episode, think about what we've discussed today, and go and maybe have a little journaling moment where you just kind of reply to those little questions and see how you feel about it. And how do you usually kind of face things, and what's your perception about things in general? And of course, we all have, it's not about being like positive every single day. I'm an optimistic person by nature, but there are days where things are, less good. And, it's not every day is a pink rainbow, but it's about how you actually react when they happen. That changes, and how that changes that perception you have and how you actually feel. Can you sit still, feel what's happening, and then kind of act accordingly, following your heart, following what you think is the best way? Because there will never be anyone that will know best what to do than yourself. And it's exactly what I deeply believe about it. And the purpose will come just naturally when you just live fully. Because when you do things because you want and love to do them, when you live intuitively, so following your heart, your gut, that gut feeling, you just spark. So I'll leave you with these little thoughts, and I leave you today with my mantra, which I love, and is not a quote from anyone, as I usually do in the podcast. But my mantra most of the times is believe it to make it. And it's very different from the fake it to make it. Because to me, you shouldn't fake anything. You should always act from the heart. Speak from your heart and be, truthful. So believe it to make it is really linked with that inner belief that things will work out well because you're doing the right things, because you're listening to what you should do internally, according to how you feel, according to how you live by your own rules. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next week. Have an amazing day. Bye, guys.